let's share this with Tim Paine, who's part of the Guild of Australian Cricket, has been a captain himself. I wonder if he gets the same buzz out of it that we as the laymen do. Hello to you, Tim.
Morning, Gerard. How are you?
What's your sense of pride in what just got achieved?
Oh, mate, I'm so proud to be an Australian after watching that today. But I think more so, I'm just so happy for that group of players and staff. They've had a hell of a 12 months, the World Test Championships, now a World Cup win, probably out of nowhere. A month or so ago, with everyone writing them off, and as you touched on, that just the team didn't look like they were playing anywhere near their best. They looked tired. They'd had a tough tour of South Africa, albeit with not their best team on the park. Same in the lead up in India, and then as that tournament built, the momentum built, and they timed it perfectly. And last night was from Travis Head, one of the all-time great inningses, and Marnus Labuschagne as well. There's no greater cauldron in world sport than in Ahmedabad last night when we were 3 for 47, and to have a world-class Test match batsman come in when some of us thought maybe he shouldn't be in that team. That last night, that scenario, that situation is why he was in that team.
I'm struck by the perfect fusion of planning and execution, from the bold choice at the toss, which risks all manner of ridicule if that goes wrong, but they had plotted a course. You could see it in the way that they bowled, the craftiness, the changes that were made. You could see it in the field. They clearly had gone deeply to school on India, having been beaten by them earlier in the tournament. And then to lay out the plans and then to execute them so well, is the triumph in that. I feel like it is one of the great triumphs on that front.
Yeah, I agree. I thought their planning first off, even with the toss, I think a few eyebrows were raised when Pat decided to have a bowl, but again, the conditions, they know that you've got a lot of guys that have played in the IPL over there. They know the dew comes in over there. And, I've been on tours myself in India years and years ago in one-day cricket where the dew gets so heavy over there. Literally, guys are putting balls in a bucket of water to bowl with it during the day to train, just to try and get used to the conditions that you're going to get that night. So they knew that was going to happen. But it's a gutsy call, as we know, because if it goes the wrong way, people are going to jump all over them. But that was the first, really good move. And then I thought Paddy Cummins with his fields, Andrew McDonald, the staff, the planning that they put in. You could tell from the first over with the field they set for Rohit Sharma with the deep point, the fly slip. And then when when Virat and KL Rahul were batting to go with that four-man offside field. I don't think I've seen that before, with a really wide mid-off, a deep point, a backward point, and a third man. No cover in a one-day game. One, it's gutsy captaincy and great planning from the staff, but two, you touched on it, the execution from our bowlers was sensational, and Paddy Cummins recognising the moment as well when we had them 3 down that they were going to go back into their shell and build a little bit. I thought the way he rotated our bowlers through that situation with Travis Head bowling some overs, Mitchell Marsh banking some overs, so it allowed flexibility the back end of the innings with our best bowlers. So I thought Paddy pulled every string last night, and it was basically the perfect performance from a captain. He'll get all the credit for that, as he should, and I think some of the backroom staff with Andrew McDonald should as well.
Before we get to Australia's batting, just on an Indian front, so the reviews are going to be harsh on this, and the question that will sit over them is, were they overly tentative in a final? Just to strike 2 boundaries between overs 11 and 40, and then they had lost wickets, 2 on the way in. It's staggering that you could have 40 overs beyond the power play and only strike 4 boundaries.
Yeah, some of that's got to be their mindset and their mentality. And the other part of it, as we've touched on, is the execution of bowling from the Australians. Paddy, we've spoken about his captaincy. That's as well as I've seen him bowl for a while too in a one-day game. I thought his energy, his change-ups, his accuracy, his speed was great. Zampa was fantastic through that middle period as well. So you've got to give the Aussies credit there. But when teams have quality like we do and like Indians do, you've got to have the courage to take it on. And I thought that was the difference in the game. When we were 3 for 47, Travis Head took the bit between the teeth and said, I'm going to win the game for Australia. I'm going to keep playing the way that I play, and my role in the team is to be aggressive. I thought Virat and KL Rahul went back into their shells. Yes, they needed to build a partnership, but the modern day's gone past that. You need to be able to put good bowlers off their line and length, and if you can't, They're too good. They won't miss. So I thought that was the difference. The Travis Head, I'm going to take the game on. India tried to build a bit of a partnership, and the Aussies took full toll on it.
So in this calendar year for Travis Heads, he bats Australia to victory at Indoor in what could have been a tricky small chase, but he's untouchable on that final morning where he makes the 49 not out. He sets the World Test Championship up on day one with 163 against India at the Oval, and Australia goes on to win that. He returns from a broken hand, which will become the stuff of folklore at Dharamshala, and makes a frightening century. And then in the semi-final, he's the key role, 62, and Australia had the jitters up, and then 137 in a World Cup final. And his progression to the top, I feel, Tim, is complete.
Yeah, I can't agree more. And I think we spoke about it a while ago, Gerard. He's become Australia's most important player if you're combining all three formats. And, it's not just the runs that he's putting out, it's now the games that he's doing it in. And that counts, and the way that he's doing it in these games. Again, 3 for 47 in that situation, that pressure cooker last night. A lot of people would have gone back into their shell and tried to, if you like, fight their way out of it. And I thought the way he just took the game on, it takes so much courage in the biggest moment of your career to back in exactly how you want to play and how your role is in the team when it is a high level, a high risk, high reward style of cricket. And, he's obviously got the full backing. I think Pat's done a great job with him. So's Andrew McDonald to back him in to keep playing that way, and he obviously feels the love from those guys. So in any situation, the biggest situation that he's ever played in his life, he's just gone out, seen the ball and hit the ball. And I think it goes down for me as the greatest one-day innings we've seen.
Yes, it is. I think so. The numbers were Adam Gilchrist in the final of 2007 and Ricky Ponting's star turn in the final of 2003, which took the game away right at the start. But this in the conditions and the fact that, he really wasn't anywhere in his first 20 balls as Australia went down 3 for. So to be able to compose himself and work his way through it. Just for the overall, in this trophy's place in the cabinet, 6 World Cups, I think it's the greatest. I think you can easily make the case not to run down any of the others which hold such a place in our hearts, but to achieve it in this manner at the end of this odyssey in those conditions and against that team that the whole tournament was set up for, I have no hesitation in declaring it the greatest. What will be the legacy of this World Cup?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the greatest World Cup victory ever, not just from Australia. I think of all teams, and in terms of Australian sport, I think it's right up there with the best, if not the best, World Cup, World Championship, whatever you want to talk about. I think this one is going to be spoken about for a long time because of those difficulties and the small little things like Travis Head's selection right back at the start was spoken about. It's too big of a gamble. That's going to go down as one of the greatest selection calls in sporting history. I think the fact they stuck with Marnus, knowing that potentially this moment last night was going to come, and under pressure you need a high-quality test match batter. He delivered. The start of the tournament, some injuries, the form of our captain, the question marks over our ability to take new ball wickets through the tournament, our play of spin during the tournament had been questioned. And then last night I think we go none for 100 off 20 overs. So again, just the ability for the Australian cricket team to build in a tournament. Like we talked about the other day, India were playing at such a high level the whole way. Australia just kept getting better and better and better and better. And I thought, you could tell in the first over last night there was 2 or 3 stops in the field, and you thought, geez, they're on here. And there's skill in that, like you said. They look tired at the start of the World Cup. At the end of the World Cup, they look like they could do it all again. So there's a lot to be said for the planning and the thought that's gone into how they were going to win this World Cup.
Yeah, I love the messages that were coming through. How good were our bowlers? How good was our fielding? What about Heads, Cats? Everyone can see something different in all of this. Travis Head tempered his game when it was required. He trended up and down versus Jadeja and Kuldeep. So fulfilling. So just a closing word, Tim. You set us up last Monday. I asked you what was par, and you said Australian teams expect to win these tournaments. Is there something in the DNA that gets passed from one generation to the next that actually sets teams up to thrive in these moments where others can shrink?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, we've been very lucky as Australian cricketers to always, since the early 80s, to have great teams, and it's just ingrained in you that when you go and pull that shirt on, you expect to win. And we know that our best cricket is always going to be competitive. When you look at what's happened last night, a country of 1.5 billion people, their number one sport in their own conditions, for a country of 25 million to go out and win it, the numbers against that are just staggering. And I think last night actually gives this generation of Australian cricketers the credit they deserve. I think some of the guys we've seen in that team last night that have won 2 World Cups now, they've won a T20 World Cup, they've won the World Test Championships. This cements 5 or 6 of the players in that team last night as some of the absolute all-time greats of Australian cricket, and I think over the last 2 or 3 years they haven't got that credit. Your Steve Smiths, your David Warners, your Mitchell Starks, Patrick Cummins, Josh Hazlewood, Glenn Maxwell. There's a list of those guys that will be remembered now, and you've got to win big tournaments and World Cups to cement that. But yeah, this team and this generation also for me now go down as one of the greats. They've been extraordinary. And I'm just so happy for them that they now get the credit that I think they deserve.
Now, that's a perfect tone to set for this Monday morning. Tim, thank you very much. Enjoy basking in Australia's victory.
Will do. It's going to be a great day, that's for sure.
Good on you. Tim